Hey, welcome back to the Quick Speed Shop. I'm back here working on my 37 Ford. Last time I put a little gingerbread on top of the flathead, bolted on the intake, on the spark plug loom covers, and a bunch of other stuff. I did a little more off-camera work. I rethreaded the throttle, the choke and the throttle rods and the actual foot throttle rod. And because this is a 59AB, and this car is originally a 37 horsepower, the baby flathead, all my rods are too short. That's what she said. And I've got to extend all these to make it work. Like the throttle rod's about 1.5 inches short. The hand throttle control is about 1 inch short. The choke is about 1 inch short. So I've got to extend these. I'm going to guess that they have like a coupling up under the dash on the handle. They probably had just two different ones, and I bet all the stuff is the same. I bent this because they used to come down farther, so I bent these back up. I got some new grounds to the firewall. I haven't put that one in yet. But I've got to figure out, I think I want to find some tubing that's the same ID's got the same OD as these rods, and just cut them and splice in a piece of tubing under the dash and then weld them back together so they look stock out here, but they're longer under the dash. I think I'll do that. So I got to measure that. Looks like it's about maybe 3/16. What we might try to do now is start to thread the plug wires through these plug wire holder looms, or whatever they are. I'm going to do it, which makes sense to me, which I think is different from how Ford did it. One of these wires on the distributor down here, I'll show you in a second, has to cross over to the other side on both of them. I think I'm going to cross it down by the distributor so I can keep all 4 wires coming out of the loom here instead of crossing them on the intake, because I think that's what they did on the intake ones. I had another 59AB. It's all covered up. So I think I'm going to make it a little bit easier for me. It might not be the factory way, but it'll be a little bit better. So I went and I bought these spark plug wires from Stromberg. They're the E-Fire spark plug wires. And they do it from the distributor out. So you get your distributor end on here, and then you put it on the crab distributor and then come up through the spark plug, what you call it. And these are all different lengths. So I'm just going to precursorily, is that a word, I guess? Precursorily lay them out. Oh, crap, there goes one. You cut them to length. That's a long one. Let's see here. This has got what they call the crab distributor. It had the helmet head distributor up to 41, I think. They had 2 rotors, one on each side. This one's got a single rotor, and it's more like a modern style. And then in 49 on the 8BA engines, they actually use like a modern style distributor coming out of the side of the timing cover. So this is like 42 to 48 here style. But these E-Fire wires have like the modern style end on them, and they clip in here like that. Then they'll, man, they stick on there good. Clip in there like that, and then we'll run them up through the looms here. It's on there. So let me pair these up and then we'll start running them. So the Ford flathead, just like a regular flathead or regular Ford V8, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's number 4. Number 4 is on the bottom of this distributor here. I guess I start with the longest one. So I'm going to feed her right up in the loom, and it's going to come out the end like this. Lay over here, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this on 4, like that. Leave that guy loose like that, number 4. Then, yeah, I guess we'll go to number 5. Number 5. Actually, here's what I'm going to do, because that's so much longer. Number 5's got to cross over. So I'm going to stick one of these a little bit shorter ones in to go to number 4. Then number 5 is on the driver's side. I got to do number 3 first. I'm going to use another long one because it crosses over from the other side. So I'm going to do number 3 first. So I'm going to go 3. I think I might be able to sneak it through, catch it with a screwdriver. We go number 3. I can finish up 1 and 2 here, the shorter ones. Now, if you're paying attention at home, you saw I screwed up there when I ran I said number 5, and I put the plug wire on number 5 over here that crosses over, but then I ran it back to the number 8 spark plug, so I fixed that out. The number 5 now comes in, I'm about ready to string it in now. So I wasn't able to jam these wires in and get them to come out the side holes on my own, just by pushing on it. They got too tight, but I made a little fish tape out of a piece of wire, and I should be able to feed the plug wire out the hole like that. Ta-da! And then pull it through where it's got to be. Kirk, like that. And that is number 5, the second crossover one right there. So I've got 2 crossovers. What's it? 3, I think 3 and 5 crossover right here in the front. And that way, you can take each side off independently. Now I just take and I untwist my wire, pull that off the end of the plug wire, just like that. Perfect. So now these hang down where they're going to be. Next step is to terminate. They got 90-degree fittings, and there's 90-degree boots that go on the end. You can either do it without the boots and leave the electrode exposed, or you can put the boot on it. It would make sense to put the boot on it, but some earlier style plug wires have the boots, you have the ends exposed like that. But these will get looped around, and I'll try to cut them as even as possible, get them to loop around so they kind of lay symmetrical and around there. So I've got a bracket I made that mounts the coil off the head bolts here, and the coil mounts over here, and it's right where the wire reaches anyway. So I'm gonna use that setup, and so that'll make the coil wire super short. But for now I'll just clip it on here. Actually, I'll leave it off for now, but I'll make up the coil wire once I get the coil mounted. But this is how it looks down in there, nice and clean. Everything's on there nice and tight. They give you nice instructions for the how to put things together. You cut the insulation back so you expose the electrode, then you curl the electrode over onto the insulation, then you crimp on your connector, and it makes the contact for it there. Hopefully I got a wire crimper that'll crimp this. I know you've got special tools for doing that, which I don't really have. To figure out how to do the plug wires, I took my MIG welder pliers, and they've got a circle part in here. I'm able to manipulate the fitting on this to do it. I did the number 1 plug over here, and I'll show you on the number 5. Let's just double check here. This is number 5, and I pull it here, it comes down. There, number 5. All right. What I got to do first is I take a little bit of this silicone spray, and I lube up the boot to make it easier to slide on the plug wire, because it's pretty hard to push it. They fit pretty tight. So I'm able to. This helps slide the plug wire through, and you just got to push it into the boot, and hopefully it will make the bend and come out. You keep pushing, it should. It's a trick. Come on, man. Helps if you bend it a little bit. Get it started. Go. Aha! I see it. Here it comes. Alright. Then you just pull it back, leave it out of the way. Then I take this loop and I loop it where I think it's going to be good. This one I cut just a hair long. I'm just going to try to make this one just a little bit shorter. How's it looking? Maybe try and make it match, but alright. Like that. Make sure this is good. That looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this off. Like that. Oops. And then I'm going to take my wire strippers. I'm going to go to number 10 gauge. And I'm going to strip back about 3/4 of an inch. I'm just going to mush the insulation until it cuts through it. And the spiral core is smaller than that, so it should be fine. I pulled the insulation off and you got the spiral core here. And I'm going to take my piece here. You roll the spiral core back like this. Hopefully you can see it. Roll it back and jam it under the piece. And I'm going to take my pliers and start to manipulate this. Make sure I'm good. Oops. That rounded part lets me squeeze down and it gets it started on there. Then I take it and I roll them to the side a little bit, and it allows me to kink them in so they bite into the insulation. And it takes me a couple tries to do this because obviously it's not the right pliers. So I just manipulate it and squeeze it until it gets bit in there good. And try not to pinch my fingers with the pliers in the process. Alright, I think that's good. Then I take the boot and I slide the boot down and I roll it so the the connector is facing the spark plug. Suck it down in there. Alright, and then it's made up and it goes click on there. And there we go. We made up our plug wire. Pretty much matches the other side. So I just got to go through and do that process all the way down. I take the plug wire and I tug on it, verify them correct before I cut it. And I just going to go all the way down and give these a little loopy-doopy action. So they look kind of looped in a half circle all the way back. And then we'll have all brand new plug wires on our Ford Flathead. Okay, it's not looking too bad for my first time making custom plug wires. I got my lengths pretty good. It might not be perfect, but guess what? It's good enough for what I'm doing. It looks pretty good. This will get pushed out of the way by the hose a little bit. But they're all on there now. All 8 are terminated. I haven't done the coil wire yet because I don't have the coil on there, obviously. But it looks good. That was a win. And these are 7mm E-Fire Stromberg wires, so they should work perfect for this engine. Fired off nice and good. I need to get a new condenser down on here. I got a points and condenser, so I get a new condenser. It mounts here on the distributor. Then this is your vacuum brake where you adjust your, it's kind of like a vacuum advance. It gets adjusted there. Pulls vacuum out of this line here. And then just got to set the coil and run the negative wire down to here. And run this wire here to the coil. And we'll be good to go. Okay, I'm jumping ahead a couple days. I had to go do a couple of things in Buffalo. I went to the Buffalo Motorama Car Show, which you've seen on the channel by now if you watched the video on that. But I'm just mocking stuff up here. I bought reproduction upper radiator hoses here that have the reproduction of the original Ford part number and stuff on them, and they fit how they're supposed to fit. And I've got them on there. I ordered the generator belt. I've got to let the generator down, but I've got that stuck on there. What else? Oh, I threw this is an 85 horsepower, the correct original style radiator for the 85 horse swap, or factory 85 horse 37 Fords. I bought this at Hershey last year. The guys, I bought it from some older guys that said they came out of a good car they're working on. So hopefully it doesn't leak. Had a little bit of fin damage I've straightened out with a screwdriver. I got to do a little bit more straightening up down here. I just got it mocked up in place just to make sure everything fits how it's supposed to fit, which it does. So everything's good. Other problem I have is my exhaust. I bought from Max/Eckler's for head pipes to make dual exhaust. Is back ordered and they canceled the thing, so I don't know what I'm going to do for exhaust rate at the current time frame, but I might have a cure for that. We'll see. But So I haven't really done any actual work. I just mocked this up, but I ordered some more parts to finish some things up. And here I was missing lower radiator hoses and clamps and stuff, so I've got everything I need to actually do this, but I want to put the new points in the distributor first, and I think I'm going to fire the motor without the cooling system hooked up with this off out of the way so I can check the timing and make sure that everything works good with the radiator out of the way, and just run it for a couple seconds, make sure it's got oil pressure and stuff, and without the cooling system hooked up, and then can hook that up last. So we'll finish out the video here, and next time we'll be working on the 37 Ford some more, and maybe getting real close. Actually, no, before I go to start the engine, I want to put the rear end and all that back in the car to balance it out on the jack stands, because right now it's real front heavy. I've got to fix the floor pan under the rear seat. I'll probably do that next, I'm going to guess. Fix the rear floor pan, get that welded up in. Then I can install the gas tank and install the rear end. I got to swap the spring over. I need to build a spring spreader. We'll do that in a video too. So there's going to be a lot of more videos on the 37 just to get it back down on the ground and running. So until then, thanks for watching. Tell your friends to subscribe, hit the bell for alerts, and I'll see you right back here working on the 37 Ford at the Quick Speed Shop.